Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Matthew Mumbles. My name is Matthew, if that was not obvious enough. And on this podcast show, we pretty much talk about whatever we want to talk about. It could be my projects, life events, maybe even some life stories, so on and so forth. Things happening in the world. That being said, I want to talk about the Secondly Object show, which I know it's been a little bit since I touched upon the Secondly Object show for a few reasons. Because, for one, the show ended a year ago. And two, I'm not making any more Blankly Object shows. I'm pretty much done. But, yeah, so today we're going to be talking about the Secondly Object show and how the Secondly Object show, I feel like in a lot of ways, really helped elevate the channel to a degree. And, became one of my longest running shows as far as, episode count goes. I think, if you count TDFAMOS, it's my third most long-running show. Although I don't consider TDFAMOS a main channel show anymore, so it's the second, right behind Angry Birds and Godzilla show. Although I think that was pretty obvious from the start. That being said, the Secondly Object show, I'm actually going to tell you some things that went on behind the scenes, and we're just going to have a nice fun chill and relaxation. So sit back, get your popcorn, and we're going to discuss. Our story begins pretty much the day before the Secondly Object show released, because I always knew that I wanted to make another object show at said time. I just didn't know what it was going to be. So, around that day, I was rewatching T.O.S.G, or I might have just been thinking about T.O.S.G, if you guys don't know what T.O.S.G is, it's the daily object show. And basically, this is a show that puts out, or used to put out an episode every single day. Up until season 7, all their seasons were daily. Check the upload count, or the upload dates. It's all daily. And that's impressive for Fusion. The guy who made it, Anthony, I should say. Him and his crew really did a good job, even though it was just him for the first 4 seasons. That being said, I wanted to try my own. What if I were to make a daily object show of mine? Except it wasn't daily. It was going to be every second. So, yeah. When I thought of making a Secondly Object show, I was just how am I going to do this? How am I going to make a show that lasts every second? Because Fusion, if you guys don't know, makes an episode every day. One that you can vote on, so it's interactive. And for him to do that, he actually broke it down and actually spent an entire day uploading the thing. Making it, animating it, voice acting it, scripting it. It was basically a whole episode production condensed into just the simplest form. And it's amazing that he was able to do it. So I thought about, how am I humanly going to be able to film 5 episodes, each in a matter of a few seconds? I would have to be so fast for the human mind not to be able to comprehend that. I really would. So I immediately knew that was out of the question. So, because making them every second would just be outright impossible. So I made them beforehand. So that was the obvious decision. Because, it wasn't really a decision. Unless you've got supersonic speed, you can go travel at the millisecond, nanosecond, whichever one's the faster one of the two. So I made the first 5 episodes in roughly an entire night. So what I basically made for this was I was going to have it so the YouTube uploader, the schedule, the automatic upload schedule thing, the option, would do it by the second. It sounded good on that part. We'll get back to that in just a sec. So I wanted this to be a special show that was tied to GG, but not directly a GG season. How do I do this? Well, I used Hand, that from Golden Glory, as the actual host, so it's just my real hand. And in the GG series, he's a left hand. So I just used my left hand and used the right hand for camera operating, just like in the show, as right hand is the camera operator. You see that? Pretty cool reference, if I do say so myself, even though that was part of it was unintentional, but the left hand part was definitely intentional. So I used hand, grabbed a bunch of objects around my room, and then just made them compete in the most stupidest of challenges, like get across that tape or whatever, like get across the finish line. The beginning of the race, which was episode 1. I made the first 5 episodes, which made up season 1, in about a night. Edited them, put together a little basic intro with the T.O.S.G music, breakdown. I know it's not the T.O.S.G music, but it's the music they use in T.O.S.G. And I completed the episodes, made their descriptions, thumbnails, and playlists, and I was ready to go. I decided to list them for that day, or the day tomorrow at that time, the next day. Problem was, moving back to the YouTube schedule thing, it doesn't work for seconds. It works by the hour, day, and minute. So, unless if I wanted the minutely object show, which is not what I was aiming for, because I already had these films done, I said secondly, and I was not going to go back and redub everything just to make it the minutely object show. No, I wanted the secondly object show. Oh, yes. So, the secondly object show, I actually decided to, and I think I got this like on point. I actually privated all 5 videos, and I just went to town. I publicly made them available the next day. I just went public, and all 5 were public, and that's how it became the Secondly Object Show. Needless to say, it was a huge channel success. Not only is the Secondly Object Show the second best performing show that I have, it's also the most popular object show, even that more of GG, even though it's tied to GG, so I guess it doesn't really count. It's the most popular object show project I have on the channel, even more so than TDF Bamos ever was, and even the Secondly Object Show Mini, which bears the name of the Secondly Object Show itself. Episode 1 has over 1,700 views, while the playlist has over 10,000 views, which means thousands of people have seen the Secondly Object Show, and it warms my heart to know that, as cheesy as this is going to say, people have seen my work, and I'm honestly really happy about that. So with that being said, I wanted to respond fast. However, coincidentally on the same day, I think it was Snowy Packle, I could be mistaken, released the Hourly Object Show. There we go. Hourly Object Show. I did not know this was going on. This was by freak coincidence. And what do you know? The Hourly Object Show spawned an entire a trend on that day that I already released the Secondly Object Show. I'm not saying I was the one that caused it, but it was definitely Snowy Packle that ignited it. Because I've seen all these Blankly Object shows come out of nowhere. I was just like, whoa, what happened here? And so you got all these different shows coming in. The blank, like the day, not the Daily Object Show, the Minutely Object Show, you got the Weekly Object Show, you got the Christmasly Object Show, which, a new episode of Christmasly Object Show should be coming out next month, which I'm recording this on November 30th, so I'm still allowed to say next month, even though the next month is tomorrow, so hush up. I was seeing all these different object shows. And so I'm over here looking at my computer, might have been a phone, and I'm looking at my views for the Secondly Object Show slowly rise and rise and rise. So I'm like, okay, I'm getting an influx of subscribers and an influx of views. This show actually has some potential. So what do? Well, I do the most logical thing. I renew it for a second season. So the Secondly Object Show Season 2 comes out on the was it the Friday? Actually, I'm going to have to double check. Okay, so yes, it did come out on a Friday. That same week. I did not want to do it like in the same day or the next day, but close enough to where the trend was still going. And given how fast object show trends seemed to die out at the time, I gotta hop on that quick. So I released it that Friday, and surprisingly, the blankly object show trend was still going. So that actually pulled in quite a decent amount of views as well, at least for the channel standards. And I really gotta say, it really helped me, like as far as like long run goes. So then it became more of, okay, you know what? I'm going to keep this show going. I'm having fun making it. People seem to have fun making it. Although I was a bit on the more mad side that it was getting more attention than the other shows that I made on the channel that were actually of quality rather than a joke show parody of T.O.S.G. So there was a time where I was a bit upset about that, but I eventually learned to cope with it and learned to see the positive. And the Secondly Object show eventually became so much seasons, rolling month after month. That February was season 3. March was season 4, and it kept going and going and going and going up until season 15, which was going to be the last season. Until I decided, why don't I give Right Hand a bit of time? So I renewed it for 5 more seasons, and then that was going to be it. Season 20, however, was going to, well, obviously is the last season, but if you notice, it wasn't a competition directly. Yes, there was a competition, but it was more on the side of telling a bit of story with it. This one had the fact that the Secondly Object show had too many episodes, and at 100 it was going to explode like a device or something that Hand himself didn't tell Right Hand about. So Red and Right Hand go ahead and had that little season 20 competition, and what do you know, it reaches 100 episodes and nothing happens. It turns out it was all a big psych out, and he traveled safely with left hand back home, where everyone from Golden Glory applauded him with excitement. And honestly, it's quite amazing to know that that's actually kind of how. Well, it's not how the story ends. That's the thing. It's not how the Golden Glory story ends, because the real ending is is actually the movie, which does have a conclusive ending. Although, yeah, I'm gonna shut my mouth before I start spoiling things about the Golden Glory movie. It's gonna be very much a closed off story. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. So that being said, the Secondly Object show had a lot of things going for it, like with the whole like releasing every episode at a time, and also had some themes with each season. Like I think season 6 was outdoors. Which one was the whispering episode? I don't know. I can't remember which one. And one of the seasons was a Christmas theme, which was really cool to throw together. And overall, the Secondly Object show had a lot of things to look up to. And I want to say this. Mine was the first. Mine was the first Secondly Object show. Search up the Secondly Object show. You're going to get a lot of different results. But mine was the first. And it's proven in season 3, I think, season 3, episode 1, that, yeah, it was the first Secondly Object show, because I specifically recorded that a little bit, and what do you know? So I hope that you guys really enjoyed the Secondly Object show for what it was. Obviously, I'm not proud of TDF and MOS, but I am proud of the Secondly Object show and the Secondly Object show mini. But if you want to watch all 3 shows, go check out my website. It's in my About Me page. So, with that being said, thank you guys for listening to this episode of Matthew Mumbles. I'm really happy that I made the Secondly Object show, and it still amazes me that I'm still making Object show content, even to this day, because I have one coming out tomorrow for you Object show fans called Spiral's Shape Show. It is unlike any Object show you've ever seen. It is going to be fun, it's going to be campy, it's going to be so comedic, and hopefully you guys will get a laugh out of it. I'm really hoping you guys look forward to it. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for listening. If you guys liked it, please subscribe to the channel. Believe in Jesus, spread the gospel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out, everyone.